again,
If
bro.
I
Remember
ever
that?
hear
Yeah.
if I ever hear ooh woo coming from anybody's house, that bitch is getting torched immediately.
We are
Ooh, my favorite.
catfishing every lonely
Yes,
incel
we
in
are.
that game.
I
For
want to be able to like hate crime somebody in an MMO again.
The most legal kind of hate crime.
That's messed up, bro. Even for us, a little messed up, dude.
Is this still the intro, or is this just
I
the
guess so.
tester?
I mean, it's a good thing that I'm gonna edit all this out, guys. So don't
Who's-
worry.
who's
Alright,
our
just make sure you
DEI
put in,
manager?
I'm actually the
I think
top.
you need to replace them.
Yeah, right. So no, let's just jump into it because I actually got to go to the bar later. So I actually wanted to talk about Ashes of Creation. I know we're all been really looking forward to this game. Um, they just announced this was like last week or whatever. They announced the Alpha 2 keys, and it caused quite a controversy. There were so many people jumping on it. I mean, it was actually pretty freaking bad that there's so many, content creators, unquote, were just like really shitting on this. I wanted to kind of see what you guys thought about it. So they put it in 3 waves, starting at, and again, this is not the real game. This is just to try the game in Alpha 2. And I believe it was $120 to get into the first wave.
guess I'm not getting into the first wave.
Does that give you
Same.
access to the game after the first wave? Or is
No,
this only access to the first wave?
it's only the first wave key will grant you access to first wave, second wave, and third wave, and also give you access to beta 1 and beta 2. But it won't give you access to the full game. It'll give you a month of the subscription time, but it won't give you the game. You still have to buy the game afterwards.
Well, the game's free, but it's more. You still got to get the
Is it
subscription
free?
for it. Yeah. Well, for right now, though, you never know.
I mean, it's
You
weird
never
that it's
know.
free, but it has a subscription.
It's about to be $70.
Yeah. So when they came out, and again, so I actually did buy in. So you guys know, I did buy into about 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I did buy the pack that came with a bunch of cosmetics that, again, let's be honest, nobody gave a shit about. It was more about the fact that you got to try the game out. I mean, just FYI, guys, we come from a big Mandalorian community. We're going to try to bring our whole guild here. So I figure let's go try this game out and see if it's like a good fit for us. It was about $300, I would say. And it gave me keys for Alpha 2 and all the betas afterwards. And apparently now, they have the 3 keys that are coming out, and you can actually see them on screen right now. The first wave is $120, and it's actually going to give you 1 month of subscription, it seems, which is a $15 value, and access to both betas, as well as the second wave and the third wave alpha. Now, if you choose not to get in the first wave, you get in the second wave, you get still, it's $100 or $110. But you get into that one and then the third wave as well and the betas. And then finally, if you just want the third wave, the final wave, it's $100 and then you get into the betas with that. And on top of that, again, the big winner here, you get a 1 month subscription time, which is valued at $15. I think that's just like the biggest slap in the face, in my opinion. It's like, hey, here's 15 bucks, guys.
I think
Yeah.
it should be like $120 for like everything up until
Well,
launch.
Let's rewind this a little bit. Originally, these keys didn't have that. It didn't have the beta access. It didn't have the monthly sub in there. It was just for the alpha access in November, December, and then I think the third one was in May. So you were paying the same price just for those things. And then people started complaining and started calling them, the game a scam. And like, how are you going to charge us this when you said that the game was already funded? You didn't need any more money, And then they were like, all right. How about we add in the betas and $15 of a sub? And people were like, no, that's still bullshit.
Yeah, it's quite literally caused one of the biggest controversies regarding gaming is since the whole crazy people from Canada trying to, have a ton of things in every game. I'll leave it at that. But let's go down the line. Kaz, what do you think, man?
So my prediction, I'm gonna call back one thing. I think $15 of sub time is like the most generous thing because subscription fees for online games haven't changed since like 1999. So that $15 adjusted for inflation is like 55. That's a huge deal. Let's give them a pat on the back. Sarcasm aside, I think I'm getting a prediction here that they're going to go Warframe with it. I don't I don't see them having content lined up for like the beta realms. I see the alpha realm kind of being. I see them basically soft launching the game with that third wave alpha in May, and that's going to be where like content goes and content is played. And because people are not going to want to, they're not going to want to lose progress. They're not going to want to, have resets, rollbacks, whatever. Eventually, they're just going to realize that they should just start adding on to that one and keep that realm and like nix the idea of the other ones because they had so much blowback from the community just with this key nonsense that they added all these things in to sweeten the deal. I just don't see how they can keep goodwill going once they start telling people, "Hey, come play, come test," and then, but you're going to lose everything and you have to redo it all, come launch.
What do you think, Dirk?
Well, I have a few opinions. I'll leave the discussion of Unreal Engine 5 for another time. That's besides the point. In terms of like the subscription policy, I kind of agree with Ben slash Kaz slash Tony here that $15 is pretty generous considering it's been the same throughout most MMOs and games in general for I don't even know how long. But I guess the next question is there going to be those added monetary values like battle passes, subscribed extraordinary extreme battle pass that gives you extra stuff in the battle pass that's already on top of the other battle pass.
They said there will be no pay to win whatsoever.
Yeah, but they also said
that.
It's definitely interesting what they're doing. It's kind of caught the internet by surprise. Let's say that.
Unreal Engine 4 now they're doing this part of how it works.
Do you have an opinion on it, Audra?
Yeah, I think $120 just for it is really excessive because if you Google how much money they've made with like 19,000 people paying them, it's $3.2 million they've made so far just from crowdfunding. So this kind of just seems like a bit of a cash grab. Like, I think $50 per person would have been excessive enough, and like almost tripling that is insane.
Yeah, agreed. Well, what do you think, Vara?
I feel like there's a lot of money for the average person to spend on a game that they can only like alpha where it says alpha 2 1 and alpha 2 can only be played during certain time frames, right? So you're basically paying like all this money to play it for what, like a couple days or like a week tops. Correct. That's a lot. Like why even do that when you could just wait for the game to come out and then pay $15
absolutely
for the subscription?
Well, they did say, I mean, before they released this, they did say, FYI, guys, if this is just a test, if you don't want to do this, just wait for the game to come out, right? They did, we have to be fair here, and they did say that. And again, going back to this, my personal opinion, and again, I'm gonna have a controversial take here. I actually do not agree with anybody online about this. I think a lot of the content creators out there are coming at this in bad faith. Now, again, I've been following this game since like 2017, 18. I think that's when they first started the crowdfunding. This game kind of reminded me of Star Wars Galaxies, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, going back, I personally purchased like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, and it was like I think it was $300. I'm honestly not sure. But I believe it was $300. And I think they said that it was over 120,000 people. It could have been 220,000. Do not quote me on that. But I think they said 120,000 people purchased into Alpha 2, 2.5, 3 years ago, right? So again, easy math. If we say 120,000 people bought this 2 years ago at $300, that's $36 million, right? So keep that in mind. Now, let's say right now, they say, hey, we're going to give you these alpha tests for free, okay? Or even $50. What happens to those 120,000 people who already bought into this. Like me personally, I would be freaking pissed because I would be like, hey man, you just stole money from me. Can I get a refund? And that's $36 million they would have to refund all those people that already purchased into it. This is, again, my opinion on this is there was really no way they can give this for free. Now, if they were to give the keys away for $50, let's just be like honest here. Nobody gives a shit about those cosmetics. I would have been like, hey, can I get a refund? I'll just give you $50 for the keys, right? So I don't think they had a choice. If they wanted to bring people in, I personally think this was a fair price.
See, you keep saying like, oh, no one cares about the cosmetics. I'm gonna completely disagree with you there. There are a lot of people who care
Yeah.
about cosmetics, and there are a lot of people who would care about cosmetics that you could only get if you had bought it at a specific time. That becomes a collector's thing, and there's so many people who care about that stuff out there. They're going to want to show off, oh, I got that, and they will pay. Think of League of Legends, for instance. You can pay $20 for their ultimate skins. People who pay $20 for one single skin on any singular champion out of the hundreds of champions and thousands of skins they have, so they can go around showing off that they have this $20 skin. Now, it's a little bit on a different scale, saying, the $300 for the cosmetics, but these aren't cosmetics I'm assuming you could get after
No,
this.
they're 100%
You would have
unique.
to only have gotten them. Yeah. So there are plenty of people who probably did that also just because, hey, I'm getting these cosmetics. No one else can get them after this.
Yeah, but
Same with CS:GO. Like people, if you have ever done gambling on CS:GO, people will pay thousands on thousands of dollars for like a fucking knife skin.
sure.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
relate this to MMOs though, because when I played New World, and like to have like good gear and not die in the game or in PvP, my character had to look extremely, and I didn't like it, and I was like demanding damn near to be able to buy cosmetics so I wouldn't look super when I was
You
out
don't like
there
the
with a
feather hat?
warhammer. No, I
Think of it
don't
as
like the
SWTOR,
damn
too.
feather.
We're gonna
Think of it as SWTOR,
we're gonna
too.
beep that out. Don't worry, guys. No, I mean, again, I'm sure there are people that care about it. Personally, I didn't give a shit about it. And if it was like a cool cosmetic, like cool, right? But I don't know if you guys seen the cosmetics that they were giving away back then. I mean, it was like the KKK had a meeting and it just painted the robes red. Not really something that I would wear. I'm from Chicago, man. You get shot out here for that.
I want it.
Yeah, right. But my point being, like, $300 for that. And let's be fair here. I don't think majority of the people that bought into that was for the cosmetics. It was for either FOMO because they didn't want to miss out, or they wanted to whatever, right? But majority was for the alphas, and they purchased into that for the alpha. So how can they give these out for free, knowing that majority of those people are going to be like, hey, can I get a refund? Like in a business perspective, anybody that says, oh yeah, refund them, $36 million is a lot of freaking money. And any CEO out there or whatever, if they have to write a check for $36 million, is an idiot. And there's no if and ever about it. I'm sure Steven, they thought about it and they're not stupid. This was
Why
like
give
this,
back
yeah.
money when you can make more money?
Right, but what happened to those 120,000 people? They'd be like, you ripped me off. You
Can
took my
I,
money.
can I give my take on this?
Sure.
I know I was put last because I'll have a really long take on it.
Go ahead.
So here's the thing. This stuff it's not tangible, right? You're not given a real life product that you can physically hold and touch. All this is digital, so the only value it has is how much time an employee took to make it. And that's it. And the company gets to assign a value to that. All right. Now, when they first introduced these packs, the best way that they should have gone about it, in my opinion, is to have two tiers: a cosmetic alpha bundle tier and just an alpha tier. That way, if you just want the key, you can buy just the key, and it will give you access to the alphas and the betas. And if you wanted the keys plus the cosmetic, you can buy that. Now, a lot of us here are older, so we probably remember the days where this kind of bullshit didn't exist. You didn't pay the company to test their game to tell them that it didn't work properly. They either paid you or you signed up into a raffle and you got in and you were a tester. But now we're paying them to test their stuff. So that's kind of shit, in my opinion. What they should have done is provided those things for sale, like I said, in those 2 tiers, and then you should have been able to sign up. And I'm pretty sure you were able to sign up, but since the game sign up for the alphas live, I've never got into it, and I signed up with like 3 different emails. Hasn't happened. And that's how it should have been. Now, these new waves of keys, in my opinion, they didn't need to do this. If they've already sold 100,000, or what was the figure or something?
I think it was
Keys.
120,000. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 120,000 players outside of family and friends, and the people that the development team has. They can give keys out to. So they're probably going to have anywhere from 100 to 200,000 players, testers to play, right? Like they didn't need to do this. This
agree.
is an obvious, cash grab, as somebody says. I think the Ashes of Creation currently is drifting into Star Citizen territory.
Don't curse it like that, dude.
Listen, it is what it is.
Well,
Like,
yeah, he does make a good point because you got to think about it. This is just for Alpha 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is literally just for Alpha 2. All 3 waves are only for Alpha 2.
Yeah, like Fyro was saying, with the cosmetics, like when they first were releasing the alpha bundles on their website for like the 300-ish something dollars, they were changing those every few months. It's not like there was just 1 or 2 or 3 different types. They had like it was in the double digits of rotating. Wasn't really a rotation because they never went back to the same ones, but they had different cosmetics. So there were some people who bought multiple keys, like multiple bundles, for those looks, and they were doing that for FOMO. Like they knew what they were doing. That's why they didn't stick with one like set. They kept switching the sets out to different ones. Oh, this is a new mount. This is a dragon. And you're like, fuck, that's a really cool looking dragon. Last time I got a goat, but I really want this dragon. I'll buy another key for $300 for the fucking dragon. And then like
I want to go.
3
I wanna
months,
fucking go, dude.
yeah, 3 months later, now it's like a fucking Unga Bunga barbarian lady that cradles you in her arms as a mount, and you're like, shit, now I gotta get this one. And now you're like fucking $900 into like an alpha for just on the cosmetics. Like there are people who really love the cosmetics.
You just stop saying "let's" and just spit it out, Tony.
I was trying not to interrupt, but let's actually talk about it. You opened up a very good point. Let's talk about the feeling between like MMO players and just video game players in general that have enabled this kind of market practice to happen. Because market dynamics, somebody had to come along and see that there was an opening, that there was a need, a desire, right? And people have been saying since like WoW came out in like Star Wars Galaxies, Ultima Online, like all those MMOs that were considered immersive back in the day. They were challenging and fun. And then the new age MMOs that, like for instance, like ESO, SWTOR,
Credit card
Final
MMOs.
Fantasy, exactly. Like the overworld is not hard. The only content that's decently hard is PvP because you can, do any raid with just, a brain dead teammate. And people want to return to like an immersive MMO style game, right? Where spending time in it is not a treadmill, but it's about like being able to explore, being able to go on a journey with your friends. People yearn for that, right? So when these guys come along and they're like, hey, we're going to like drip feed you videos over the last 5 years and we're going to charge you money, some of the onus is on the consumer, because for everybody who's in here being right about being like, this is predatory, this is garbage, there's 120,000 other people who were like, take my money, make me feel like I did when I was 20 years old, when I was 10 years old, take me back because now sucks.
Yeah, and again, I agree. I can agree with a lot of this, but my point being, like the current, and going back to it really quick, currently with the beta test coming, or the alpha test, excuse me, coming out right now, or the second wave of them, there's no way they could have done this for free. Do you kind of see my point here, where what happens to all those people before? Because let's be honest, any game, we're all gamers here. Every game that is not or does anything shady, if it gets online, it gets blown to hell up. There is no way this game would have survived if they gave it for free and 120,000 people were like, they just robbed me. I'm 100% sure there would have been 5 times more videos online saying Ashes of Creations are, the people stealing your money and it's a scam game, even more than there is now. So, like, in my opinion, there was no way this could have been free. Do I agree?
I also want
Yeah.
to point out, you keep saying it didn't have to be free. Yeah, it didn't have to be free. They didn't have to do it at all, though.
Yeah.
That was my point
Like
too.
that,
I
yeah,
don't
it
think they should
didn't
have
have
done
to
this at all.
happen at all. Like
They're
they had
already
plenty
giving
of
it for
people
free.
to test the game.
Why do
They're
you
already
think?
giving it
Yeah.
for free. They're giving, like, you can sign up for the alpha and you can go into that lottery and get a key for free. It's a lottery. You may or may not get it, but it's been there since day one. They like no, I don't at least here I don't think any of us are saying like they should have done this and they should have just given away, like let's say 200,000 and the first 200,000 people got this for free. No, they didn't need to do this at all. They just wanted to do this.
So
But like when I was said with the whole 2-tier thing with the cosmetic and the key, they fucked up day one. If they did it properly day one, they could have done this now and it would have been a non-issue.
yeah. What do you think, Ojo? Why do you think they actually started charging for these?
Who knows? You need to look up like their dev teams. Like to me, it kind of seems like they might be having some financial issues. Maybe not hardcore ones, but they've gotten a lot of money from this game, and charging $120, it just seems very, I don't know, a bit desperate to me, because a lot of people like $120 for that.
Okay.
That's
It
crazy
costs
to
more
me.
than getting the Warhammer like Ultimate Edition.
That
bro.
for
I
some
think it was
people,
Steven.
like an hourly wage person, that's more than some people make in a day.
That's probably what I make in a day.
I think it was Steven that had a big push on this, in my opinion, because he's put a lot of his own personal capital into this, and I get it. If you're going to invest like 30, 40 million dollars of your own money into a project like this, and you have no idea if it's going to succeed or not, you'd probably want to get paid back some of it.
Then open the game up.
Yeah. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
I
think
just did the math
honestly.
real quick. In fact, this is considerably more than I make in a singular workday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So for someone like me, who is unfortunately the reality for a lot of people, especially I know I'm one of the younger people here, and especially for a lot of people my age, that's why I say it's like it's extreme in the pricing.
Sure.
Because like I could work an 8-hour shift and I still wouldn't make that much.
Yeah, like
And a lot of people
$50.
are-
$50 is expensive but reasonable.
Yeah, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are mistaking what you can do with this key. A lot of people are like, "Yeah, I'm paying $100 to play the game, right?" And like even Steven and they've said like that's not what this is. This is a alpha test. You're testing,
Yeah.
so you're not paying $120 to play. You'll be playing, but you're paying $120 to work. You're going to be working to test to see what's broken and not broken, and to give your feedback to the devs about that.
They should have did it like they did in the old days, where if you got into the test, your reward was like an in-game item,
Or like a title.
they used to do.
Yeah.
Because it's the equivalent. If you played a normal MMO, that's like the equivalent of 5-6 months of a subscription.
It definitely is. But again, it is. I think, and again, I don't want to, because we've been at this now for half an hour, and it's really good. I do have a couple of things we want to talk about, but really quick, one more thing that I think we should bring up, and Fate mentioned it. Stephen and Margaret, and again, I've been watching them for the last 5 years, like almost every episode, because I am generally interested in this game. They did say that this is, again, alpha. This is to help them out. If you should not pay this, if you're not, you should not do this unless you want to test the game out, because this is not the actual game, it's a test of the game. Personally, what I think, again, is I think this was a business decision. I think, and I think if they were honest about it, again, going back, I think they came at it in a good way, in good faith. I just think they really screwed up with the communication. If they were, up there and they said, "Hey guys, it's freaking expensive to make a game. We need a little money," this would not be a conversation at all. People would be like, "Fine, we'll help you out," right? Even though they need it now. I just think this whole key thing, I don't think they should have done it at all. I just think this was a business decision. They're trying to play on the FOMO from everybody because they were like, people don't want to miss out, so people will pay for this. And honestly, they're probably right. So I think that was like the biggest thing here. I don't think this was anything other than just a business decision. There's no way they could have given it for free just because obviously there's so many people. They should have not done this at all, but I think they were just trying to make a few extra bucks before the end of the year. Personal opinion. Do you guys agree with that, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it seemed like a cash grab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And it's like I can guarantee you that almost nobody is gonna buy first and second wave keys. Like
Yeah.
in these three bundles. Like yeah, you get like if you buy the first wave, you get second and third, but no one's gonna buy the first, and really no one's gonna buy the second. Most people, if they are buying any of these, they're gonna buy the third wave, because if you look at it financially, you're only paying $20 more to play for a weekend in November and then a week in December. And
That's
then
right.
the third alpha that's out in May is going to last for a couple of, like a month or more. And even Steven said that the first alpha isn't going to have much content. Second alpha is going to have, like the second wave, the second date in December will have a little bit more, but it's still not going to be much content. The third wave in May is where they're going to have a lot of the content in the game for people to actually play through and test. So if any of these sell, that third one is going to be the one that sells the most. And it's kind of telling because they priced that one at $100 and the other two are only 10 and 20 bucks more.
Yeah. I think, I don't even, and again, there's a lot of kickback. There's a lot of kickback on, the internet and the forums and like a lot of websites. Even I think like Steven mentioned it yesterday. I think yesterday when they had their live stream, he was like, it hurts his heart to see a lot of the comments that are coming, and it's like, dude, you have to understand when you ask people to pay $100 for something that it's not even a real game yet, it's not going to go over well, right?
And this isn't even the first controversy of the game. They've
it's
had
not.
others with like Ashes of the Apocalypse. Their
Yeah, that was not.
what is it, Fortnite clone that they were trying to do, but saying it was only for like combat testing, and then the whole crossbow debacle where they were selling crossbow skins, but even though crossbow isn't a weapon in the game,
Yeah, I
that to refund all those
definitely.
people.
Yeah, but they did refund every single one of those people though.
They did eventually, but it took them months to even admit that
After
that was
backlash.
an issue. Yeah.
No,
It took them months.
no business is gonna write a check unless they really have to. And again, I'm not sticking up for Ashes of Creation. Like I said, I genuinely believe it's gonna be a great game. It's just when we're gonna freaking get it. I think.
Let's
Go ahead.
let's just admit that everybody who had ties to Star Wars Galaxies is a shitty, greedy developer.
I agree with that 100%. That's my favorite MMO of all time, by the way. Star Wars Galaxies, I think, is the greatest MMO
If
ever
they
made.
worked for Sony, they're no good.
Best
Yeah.
best MMO ever with the worst leadership. Shitty, greedy
100%, dude.
developers.
100%.
My concern with this game, and I forgot who said it, the people who are wanting this, getting into like the dirt with these old MMOs, spending all this time getting invested in the world and, doing all this. My concern is that it's all like, what's the rose tinted glasses? It's nostalgia that people feel like because they were a kid and they enjoyed all this. That's what they want now as adults. You ain't got time to. Most people ain't got time to do that, and they're like, "Oh man, I miss these days." And then these days are presented to them, and they're like, "Dude, I don't have the time to do any of this." That's
So
my
that
biggest
was
concern is they're gonna release this with all those old core MMO features, and the people who really love them are gonna not have the time to play them, and the new generation that like these quick in and out, instance based games that are not super involved because they want to go like, party and do whatever else. They're gonna be like, nah, dude, this is way too much time investment.
That's true because remember, like when Star Wars: The Old Republic came out, like people were like, "This is the new SWG, boys. It's just SWG with better graphics." Then
it was terrible.
It launched, and it's like this is like
why would you bring that up, bro?
This is like play to World of Warcraft.
Oh, dude,
Well,
my heart hurts hearing that. Why would you bring that up?
So
That was the
I'm
worst.
gonna expand on that because this is my counter to it. So game developers, sometime like whenever WoW blew up with the whole Wrath of the Lich King, game developers looked at every single MMO after that like time frame, and they were like, "Fuck the levels! Like it doesn't matter if it's 1 to 150 or 1 to 80. It doesn't matter. Everything between 1 and 80 or one and max level doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It's just literally a waste of your time. And then you get to end game, and that's where streamers rush. That's where everybody
course.
who's anybody rushes to the end game because they want to conquer those challenges. And game developers have missed out on having challenges that throughout the journey of the game give you something to do and not rush to end game. And that's what I'm talking about because like I don't have enough time in a day. Like I'm a dad, I work a full-time job. I can put like 2 hours a day into a game if I want to like make my wife somewhat unhappy. But I can sit here and grind for like a gear treadmill game like WoW and have a genuinely bad time and then kill my sub after I've beaten a couple raids because PvP is still the same. Some guy with better gear than me is just going to clobber me because that's all that matters. Or I can look for a game that's going to give me something where I might be level 15, but I can gather materials, I can craft gear for my level, and I can have a good time going through the journey. And I don't care when I get to end game because I'm still having a challenging time at the level that I'm at. And that's what I'm talking about with that. I agree 100%. There's a lot of nostalgia, but that's the feeling that I'm looking for is like, I don't want to feel like if I'm not at max level, I'm completely missing out on the game. And so
100%.
many games are like, if you're not at max level, like SWTOR does it, WoW does it, and
Yeah.
all the new content is for people who have been there.
I
And
think
that's fine. I don't
yeah,
expect them to make mid-level content, but the mid-level content that they make when they make the game needs to be engaging.
it's just as important. I 100% agree. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of different people that play MMOs, right? I'm mostly an MMO player. I play other games, but I love MMOs. To me, like obviously, end game matters, right? You rush to it, you try it, but honestly, a lot of the memories that I have in MMOs over the last 20 years of playing MMOs, it hasn't been like, oh, look, I got all this stuff. Look at me. That's not been it. It's been the crazy stuff that we did, together, the crazy memories that we did together, 8, 10 of us, going and raiding a city and killing all the people in there, or, hey guys, we beat this,
Jesus,
blah,
that
blah,
went
blah.
dark.
No, I'm just saying, like in game, obviously, but like it's the memories you make. I think that's what like MMOs, in my opinion, what majority of the players of MMOs, especially the older crowd,
Mhm.
that's what they really want. And I think again, I'm not. I know there's a lot of people that like don't agree with that, and that's fine. But I think what Tony's saying too, Kaz here is, dude, mid game and early game is just as important too. 100%.
Yeah.
It's about the memories you make.
I
It's
agree to an extent, but I think you have to adjust your payment model based on that. If you're gonna charge $15 a month as a subscription fee, in my opinion, I think you need to have content that reflects that on a continuous basis. And if you're going to not charge that and have a game that's more about the mid game and you creating your own adventure, I don't think a lot of people would be okay with paying $15 a month when they're taking their time going through the game. And usually those types of games have cash shops with like armor
Yeah.
cosmetics and like mounts and like vanity stuff, right? Like the current SWTOR. It's a lot of like gear on the shop that's just like armor and stuff like that for vanity. And this game is going both ways. So I think, like I said, I think they're gonna have two butting heads when the game releases. They're gonna have these people who want like this end game, and they're gonna have these people who want this mid game. And as the saying goes, when you try to make everybody happy, you make nobody happy.
It's 100% true.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
and a lot
think
of these games go one way too hard.
one issue that I have with the price, I think, is like the underlying issue is that there's not a lot of transparency of where we're at. Like, when is the game coming into a beta? We're paying $120 for an alpha. Okay, when is alpha going on to the next stage? Because I don't want to drop that much money on something that will be able to play once or twice a week for 40 minutes at a time. Like, I want to know when I'm actually going to be able to play the game, and we don't get that kind of transparency from the devs. We just keep getting like Twitch streams of like Node Wars, which we've
Yeah.
seen a billion times already.
Star Citizen.
I think.
Hey, Guns,
Go
that
ahead. Sir.
current web page you have open.
Yeah.
I don't know if we discussed this already, but I literally just read this
I
sentence.
saw that,
and I was
yeah.
like, wait a second.
There's a reason I put it on there.
Phase 3 is
Yeah.
expected to last at least 1
Yeah,
year.
that's why.
Dog.
That's why I actually made a note of this, and Odra like hit it on the head. So honestly, and again, I don't even think the price. I think it matters, but I don't think that's the issue. I think Odra hit it in the head. It's the unknowing when we can actually play this game, because Alpha 2 is just Alpha freaking 2. That's not the game. The fact that they keep delaying the game, because we all thought Alpha 2 done this year, betas next year, game comes out towards the end of the year. If you read that sentence, this is what I read earlier, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna put this in here. So Alpha 2 Phase 3 is expected to last at least 1 year. So let me go back up here really quick and show
May
you
1st.
this. Yeah, May
1st, 2024. And May
right
1st,
there.
2025.
So Phase 3 starts. So if you read that, I think that's the biggest issue here is a lot of people are pushing back and being just genuinely disappointed. The fact that, I mean, if you just do the math, I don't think this game's coming out till the following year in 2026. Because if
Or
you play it-
2028.
No,
It could
because
still come
if
out.
the
It could still
purchase
come out in
ends in
2025.
2025, that means alpha will last till 2026, which means beta will either be at the end of 2026
or
early 2027,
27.
which means
That's
the
just
game will be
beta.
2065.
Yeah,
I've seen betas last for years.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
think that's
still
the biggest
possible the
hit.
game to release in 2026 because, like, let's say Alpha 2 ends, in May of 2026, right? They can go into Beta 1 in like June or July. It could last a month, and then go into Beta 2 around, September, October, even November, and then the game can release for, the holidays, Christmas time in December, which a lot of games release around that time anyway.
So
So it's still possible, but it's still a very, very long time frame. And I'll keep saying it. I'll keep bringing it up. I think that we might get into a Star Citizen issue. I think during Phase 3, they could start pushing in cash up items that you could pre-buy in the alpha, and they could just keep riding that train for as
At
long
least you
as
can
they
play
can.
Star Citizen.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
but I'm saying, like,
who
they're
played
saying if you
Warframe?
can play
I played Warframe.
phase
Yeah.
2 or phase 3 for at least a year, so they're gonna have Alpha 2 phase 3 up and active for a whole year at least. So you'll be able to
I'm
play the
fine with
game.
an open beta.
Who here played Warframe when they first announced it? Because I bought in as an
I
early
did.
adopter way back in the fucking day.
Isn't it still technically like
It
beta?
finally launched. It launched after 11 years. So they when they came out, their initial promise was that we just need a little bit of capital. We're going to get the game off the ground.
pay
It's
$100
gonna
for
be-
this different Warframe?
Exactly. It's going to be beta, right? Buy the in-game characters you want to pay for money, or you can grind for them, but you definitely want to pay because otherwise you're grinding for a whole week. And then we're going to drip feed you content, but it's going to be released next year. Okay, cool. The year hits, dude. They're like, this is beta, but you're going to be able to play. They spent the entire 10 years of development on that game, milking obscene amounts of money out of the player base, constantly doing unnecessary engine, graphics, and other revamps rather than doing content for the game. And then eventually, when the lead developer left because he wanted to make his own game spin off of the same universe, they launched the game. They're still updating and adding content to it, but they finally said it's out of beta. This is the official launch because they were happy with the amount of content that they finally did. But it took them 10 years.
They were happy
of
with that
adding
money
content.
they got from
Exactly.
that.
Didn't
So
they make
that's-
a DLC before it actually made the launch?
Yes.
Yeah, you got like
Yes.
the overworld thing.
I will be
I
honest.
think there's
go
There's,
ahead, Fade.
before you go, I'll say one more thing. I think it was a Japanese developer that said something along the lines of a rushed game will be bad forever. A delayed game will eventually be good, right? So I think that if they want to take their
Cyberpunk?
time with Ashes, they can take their time with Ashes, but don't Don't do this bullshit of having an alpha last for a year so you could drip feed people cosmetics
Dude,
and
I
then
don't agree
maybe
with that.
not release it.
Li-
You know,
I'm
just like
sorry, but no.
keep it as is, test it, and then when it's
I
good, release it.
listen.
It's hard to say if
I
we
can't
don't
agree
see
with that.
actual gameplay.
Yeah, dude. Listen, I'm the biggest alpha, or I'm the biggest Ashes of Creation supporter. You don't even know. But just FYI, Kickstarter was placed on May 1st, 2017. However,
Ridiculous.
However, Intrepid Studios was founded in 2015, and the first Alpha 1 closed on August 15, 2021. So, bro, look, I'm the biggest
That time
supporter of
frame is
Ashes,
fine.
but
That
you
time frame
can't
is
be,
fine.
you cannot be making a game for 10 plus years and then be like, oh, we're just making sure it's perfect. This is why this is happening. You need to put this game in the hands of players to actually play the game. Have it in early access like everybody else. Like look at Pal World. It's still in early
Yep.
access, isn't it? And it's probably one of the
Yep.
most popular games of the year. Like
A
you
single
cannot,
player
yeah.
game
Different
needs to be
genre.
perfect, but a
It's a
multiplayer game
different
does
genre.
not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different genre. This is a no-name studio. They were founded. They've never designed a, yes, they have talent who from other companies who they've, put together to design this, but as a company, as a single entity, this is their first project. They haven't developed any other game. This is their first thing, and they chose an MMO. So them taking, 10 years is fine. If you tell me Blizzard takes 10 years to make one game, not fine. That is an established company. They have the engine.
Multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah, versus a studio funded by Steven with his own money, and he's like rounding people up. It's a bit different, but it's still taking a while. When I said that quote earlier, I didn't mean like, oh, if it takes you 20 years, it takes you 20 years. No, I'm just saying like, if the game isn't a ready state, release it.
Do you know
Don't
what this is
just
going to
put
be?
an alpha out and
Well,
get people for their money.
hold on. It's not even just because of like some simple business thing that's causing the delays. It is in part, a large part of it is due to the engine not cooperating with what they want, because they had everything pretty much in a very good state when they were on Unreal Engine 4. If you look back and watch their videos, the world looked pretty amazing on Unreal Engine 4. The switch to Unreal Engine 5, I didn't support it because the base version of UE5 is dog shit. You can see a lot of it in a lot of the new games that are coming out. If you guys played the first Descendant, I don't know if any of you have. UE5 is known for its stuttering and networking issues. That has a lot of problems when it comes to a large amount of people on the servers that are being hosted by that game. And like I know they switched to UE5 and their developers. I think what they're doing is they're trying to custom tailor the UE5 engine to work with their game and what they're trying to do, which is probably what's taking so long, is getting their systems to function in a massive like seed for people to be able to play together and not experience these latency issues.
Okay, but here's
Speaking
my
of seed,
probably dumb question. So like, why did they change from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5? Was it just because it was a better engine that supposedly that came out? Because if that's
The
the
iPhone
case,
effect.
because if that's the case, then taking their time, quote unquote, and going further and further out, their new engines are going to come out.
There
Like,
are.
it's not
thank
going
you
to
for speaking up
never
because I
gonna
was
do
about
that.
to ask you, lady,
Yeah.
do you prefer them to come fast or slow? The game release.
um, I
Thank you for the clarification.
I feel like they should stick with what they should have stuck with what they were at to begin with, and
Oh, yeah.
not felt like they needed to upgrade anything.
Their regular sized one would have worked perfectly.
Yeah,
so
Odra, do you like it when it comes fast or slow? The game.
Oh, you know me.
there
Oh, that's
are.
right. Yeah.
So they
Regarding
gave
the engine, there are improvements with
100%.
UE5 or UE4. There are tools that make it a lot easier for teams to design things. There are tools, there are like back-end coding things that UE5 provides that can make newer, fancier looking games be able to run on older hardware a lot better than what UE4 could do. Um, There's a bunch of stuff. Yes, there's also a bunch of drawbacks, but there are a lot of benefits with it.
Well, the biggest
number
problem
one
is that
reason-
Epic Studios designed that engine, so these developers don't have the necessary knowledge, like off the top of their head, to be able to construct the code necessary to make it run the way they want. They have to develop that code to function correctly. Because if a script isn't going to function correctly in the game, it won't work. You'll just get errors. It'll just
Here's
break.
another
one
dumb
reason.
question that from my standpoint, and maybe someone who doesn't know much about coding and games and stuff could also ask. Nope, never mind. It's gone. That was a
number
classic
one-
me moment.
That's
Dude, what
that's
an
amazing.
edge. That
Yeah,
was his
dude,
edge.
she lost it.
That
The
was
number
awesome.
one reason every single game company, when they swap to UE5, the top fucking bullet is they clarify that more than one developer can work on the game at one time. So
Oh,
Unreal Engine
Don't mean to
4.
cut you off, but I remember and I don't want to forget again.
Go ahead.
Real quick, what about if a game's already been put out? Say, if they had put the game out in Unreal Engine 4, would it have been possible for them to then, after the game was done,
No.
change it? Okay, no. So it's not
No.
something they
Yes.
can work on behind the scenes and change.
You,
It's
you
Stroker would have
can,
done that if it was.
you
Yeah,
can, except you'd split your development team.
Yep.
Smite is doing that right now, and they had to you can't just if you make an apple in UE4, you can't just port that apple over to UE5 and now you have
Correct.
a new shiny apple. You got to
Comes as an
remake
orange.
that apple.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
you,
gotta
you got to remake the apple.
So if they
Uh,
make the game in Unreal Engine 4, they would have to completely remake the game.
That's
So maybe is that why it's taking so long then? Because they already
Yes.
made most of the game and
Mhm.
now they're just remaking it again. And
There
Yes.
are some things it's easier for you because you have a structure there already. Like you have a skeletal model of, let's say, an NPC. You have how armor and gear is designed. Like there are some things that you can move over, but you do still have to tweak them on top of just moving them over. You can't just be like,
So
drag drop ready to go. No, you have to actually still modify a bunch of stuff.
Go ahead, Tony.
So Daybreak Games, who owns like DC Universe Online, Lord of the Rings, and like the EverQuest series, they actually because like Lord of the Rings has a TV show going, and they wanted to fucking capture the Lord of the Rings resurgence. They had announced last year that they were looking into doing a full like remaster of Lord of the Rings Online, like a big engine upgrade, right? And then the studio that owns Daybreak basically backed off of it because they did a financial analysis, and the lift that it would cost them to just do the remaster on a game of that size. And granted, this is 2007 MMO, right? So it's got a lot of content, but not a lot of it's voiced. It's like WoW style, and just a big, massive world, right? And they were like, the cost that it would take to upgrade the engine to do all the upgrades they were talking about was easily over like $5 million, which for a game with like maybe 5,000 people that actively play it, that's not, you don't have that much cash flow on that game to do that, right? And that's for an old game. So when you get into bigger games with more content and especially like more pixel counts and a lot more shit that has to get fixed, especially with like newer lighting, then it gets really expensive really quickly to try and do that technical work, which is why they did it in development. Because there's been 2 games that have actively upgraded their engine from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5 this year, and they were both single player games. If they had been multiplayer games, it would have been a complete crapshoot, because the single player games, they spent months testing and there was still shit that was fucked, just because the Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, Epic's a cash grab company. They always will be, and they are renting the engine. That's the other thing, is if you're a developer and you're using Unreal Engine 5, you're basically, but you're just doing what you can because nobody else
He
has
means
an
that in a
alternative.
good way, guys.
I do.
Well, you also, if you
In a
do rent that
supportive way.
engine
In a
from
supportive way.
Epic, you have to pay them a 5% tax
Yep.
on the profits you make after the
It's,
game is launched.
So
Let's-
all I'm hearing is
yeah.
they should have just stuck with Unreal Engine
They
4,
should have
made
fucking
their
made their own.
game, and
They should have
then
made their own.
made
Yeah.
their
So
game.
so from what I
Made their own
understand, so from what I understand why they switched to 5, and again, this is from what they've said and from what the research that I've done, many years ago for it. Unreal Engine 4 a lot of stuff that you had to make in there, only one person could be in there while making it. And again, I could be wrong, but this is what I heard. And then when they switched to Unreal Engine 5, multiple designers can be in there doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's a lot easier for them to develop. On top of that, with newer engines, newer possibilities end up. So it was just switching to Unreal Engine 5 now saved them months of and years of headache later on down the line. Do I agree with it? Again, I personally just want to play the game. And
It would have been much easier if they just made their own. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah,
If
yeah.
they were already on 4, the move from 4 to 5 was a good move. If
I
they
agree.
were on something else, like God forbid Unity or anything else,
God forbid.
and then switched to 5, then that would have been a bad
So-
move. They should have just made their own. But the problem with making your own engine is it's proprietary. When you hire a developer or a coder, they now have to learn your engine on top of then having to learn how to do their job in your engine. Versus a lot of devs are just playing around with UE5, in their free time.
Yeah.
So you hire a developer from another company, they probably already worked in UE5. They don't need to be brought up to speed how to
Yeah.
use UE5,
So
and they can just get into
Or
working.
use an engine that's already proven to work and stop experimenting with them.
Yeah.
I
You
think
guys
they
wanna
want it
know
to be
what-
different, as well.
I mean, at the worst come scenario, they could have a
Well,
Final
they
Fantasy
are.
14 1.0 problem when making their own engine, and the thing is completely shit, and the game burns and crashes day one.
Who here played Rift?
I loved
Yes.
Rift.
Yeah.
The same engine that Rift runs on is the same engine that Oblivion was built on. Just so you know.
The goat of all RPGs.
The GOAT of
Yeah.
all RPGs had the jankiest engine and turned into an MMO. So
And it's getting
that's-
remade, so it's
Rift
going to
was
be even
janky.
better.
and it's getting remade. And that's where I'm going. They should have made their. I realize it's proprietary, but this is the thing. The gaming industry has lost its passion, right? We're at a point where game workers are nothing more than factory
Copy
workers. There's
paste.
people in suits, exactly. There's people in suits in boardrooms making stupid decisions and churning out games like Star Wars Outlaws that could have been fucking 10
Dude,
out of 10 game of the
I
year.
saw you playing that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I saw you playing that.
bought it.
What were you thinking?
Dude,
Dude,
I was
joking
thinking I had
clip.
muddy
It was
lips.
awful. It
But
was
that
the
is the
worst thing I've ever
difference.
seen.
That is the difference with companies and then Intrepid Studios. Intrepid was originally funded just by Steven and his own personal money. He had two choices. Does he go the route of making his own engine, which would have severely increased the cost of making his game that he had no idea if it was going to succeed or not? Or does he, pay the mod, in this case, Epic, and if his game succeeds, yeah, he has to give them now 5%. But if it doesn't succeed, at least he didn't front all of this money making an engine for a game that didn't work out.
Here,
I
hold
say
on.
take the risk. Go ahead.
I do. So hold on, guys, really quick. So we're coming up on that hour, and I have to. It's $2 tequila nights tonight. It's tequila shots for $2. Come on, I'm just a man. Okay.
That
I
sounds
need to-
We
dangerous.
taking a pause break so you
Listen,
can
no,
go
well,
do
I
whatever.
so I was gonna say
Wrap it
we're gonna wrap it up in a way. So I always thought, and you guys know me for a while now. Whenever we try to do something, it's always better to wrap it up in a positive note. Does anybody want to go and see how we can positively say something good about Ashes? Is there anything at all that we can say or end this in that light?
It's a scam game. It's gonna fail faster than SWTOR
That's
failed.
not a positive thing,
Damn.
dude. That is not a positive
have-
thing.
It
I
is a
can't wait
positive.
for-
They'll achieve a milestone or an achievement that no other MMO has ever achieved by failing faster than 6 months.
I will say my positive note. I'm extremely looking forward towards the caravan roleplay. I'm very excited to sit on my caravan
Figures it
and ride around the world of Vera as Odra. Be's a subby wubby in the back of the caravan.
I guess a positive note could be that from what I can tell or what I know at the moment, they're not making you buy the game. They make you pay for a subscription only. So ultimately, they could be charging us like another $100 to buy the game, and then charge us another, say, $50 every time they give a new expansion. And then you also have to pay for game time. People here might know what game I'm referring to. That does this. But they're not doing that, so I mean that's good at least.
My
Yeah.
It's
concern, I'm
somewhat
sorry to
attainable.
take this back into the negative side, is usually games that do that, they end up using a lot of development time and resources into cash up.
Well,
in
positive,
probably
positive,
the
bro.
same game
I-
that you're referring to.
I'm
Positive
going
time.
to pause.
I mean, look at Switzer. Come on, don't tell me that a
took
lot of
his
people here wouldn't
balance
say like, let's
this is
take
what I
away the
mean.
cartel shop and,
Yeah.
and make more content.
All
Like,
right,
come
go,
on.
right.
go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
Tony.
I'm gonna
Go
wipe
ahead.
him out.
Yeah, thank you.
I want an MMO to play with my friends again. I want something that I can
Thank
enjoy,
you.
something fresh that I'm not bitching about yet because I haven't played it. So I'm looking forward to that. And they say they're borrowing systems from SWG. I want in-depth crafting. I want the
100%.
ability to do overworld questing. So many games, the only content in the game is instanced or like PvP battlegrounds. I want overworld content. I want to be able to ruin somebody's day in a city for existing.
And
I want to be
teabagging
able
them.
to,
In a good way.
yeah. I
Hey,
want to be able to like hate crime somebody in an MMO again.
The most legal kind of hate crime.
that's messed up, bro. Even for us, a little messed up, dude. All right, Odra, give me some positive, homie. Come on.
I really do like how they're making Node Wars. It's kind of weird how they're like focusing only on that with their updates, but it does look really fun. They just need to like hurry up a little.
Yeah, and
Real.
again, so I'm gonna try this one time, and then I'll do one too. Fate, you want to do some positive, or are you good with the negative?
I mean, I really would like there to be a positive. I know
God damn it,
people.
dude.
I listen. I know people. I know players.
Just lie,
I
bro.
know what a lot of
Lie.
people will do.
You
Okay,
can't-
fine. I like that you can put a house in the overworld. I like that I can walk past Odra's house and burn that bitch to the ground if I wanted to.
I'm gonna clip that.
Oh,
Dude, you're gonna
Dude, we're
walk
gonna-
past Oja's house and see him be a subby wubby, dude.
yeah, I
He's
was gonna
gonna
say
be
we're gonna
naked.
catch ERPers in public
Listen,
again, bro.
if I
Remember
ever
that?
hear
Oh yeah.
if I ever hear ooh woo coming from anybody's house, that bitch is getting torched immediately.
We are
My favorite.
catfishing every lonely incel
we
in
are.
that game
Yes,
for
we
all
are.
their money.
Yes, I still remember being a bounty hunter in SWG, man,
I'll
catching a
go
guy
get
fucking
the
his girlfriend.
pitchforks ready.
So
And
you guys
dude,
know, yeah, it's gonna get
appreciate
wild.
it.
Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I can't
No, you
wait to
weren't.
catch people ERPing.
Again, thank you for trying for lying.
Not on
to
our
us.
watch.
So
No, I mean my goal, and I'm like, okay, here I'll give you an honest one. I've been really big into economy recently, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of economy play in this game, and I'm somewhat looking forward to manipulating the economy to an extent to where I can mess with everybody financially in the game.
dude,
Okay, wait. If we're saying our real good things, then let me say mine.
go ahead.
All
I thought
right,
you
so
would. But...
oh no, fuck the caravan system. That shit looks dumb as fuck. Anyway,
Jesus Christ, dude. Go ahead.
Be positive.
I know I'm going to be. I was just getting that out of the way. First, I can appreciate that they're bringing some very unique aesthetics into their world, and it would be really cool if they implement things like Guild Wars 2 has with their dynamic event system. And being able to, I think, just genuinely being able to explore the world and see some of these unique sites with friends and guildmates would be a really cool and unique experience, however long that lasts. But it does look like they're building, or at least trying to build, a unique world with some unique play styles, including the city and village development that they have, or as they say, node development.
They'll
So that
have
looks
those
very unique.
dynamic events, and they'll have evolving worlds. They've showcased different parts of the season. So like in the winter,
Yeah,
they'll
that
be
I
frozen
just didn't
over,
want to
and then
like
summer.
say it as a for sure fact
Yeah,
because
until we see it.
it's
they've
yeah,
shown it,
it's
but yeah, you're right.
Okay, and
But-
then mine. Are you done, Dirk? I'm sorry, man.
yeah. Go ahead. I was just saying
Yeah,
that was it.
I'm like tasting tequila already. No,
Let me taste something
what,
else.
thank you. Ubu. No, what I was
Oh,
gonna.
no.
Ah, shit. Where do you? I know where you live, dude.
What I was gonna say is, and like, Steven, you're probably never gonna watch this, but just so you know, I'm on your side. I don't know any of these people. I think you guys are doing a really good job when it comes to the actual game. I love Star Wars Galaxies. I love that a lot of the stuff that I actually like to do in game, you guys have in Ashes of Creation. It kind of brings you back to like the origins of MMOs, in my opinion. Again, anyway, I just do think you guys need a better communication officer. There, I said it. That's my little one thing. But I really do love what the game or the potential of it, what it has, because I just want to play, like Tony said, I just want to play a freaking game with my friends and make little nerds cry somewhere. That's all we want.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
For the love of God, please stop having Steven play the game on stream.
Dude, I
okay?
knew you were gonna say
Like,
that.
he
He does not know how to
listen,
play a
he may
ranged
like
character at
he
all.
may like games, he may like MMOs. It could be his passion why he's doing this, and we're thankful for him for trying. But like the stuff that he wants to show off is not being shown off when he plays. People are pulling stuff, and he's looking at water, being like, "Oh, look how pretty the water! Oh, look at the water!" Like, no, dude, come on. You're trying to show off the tanking, do the tanking thing. You are the tank. Why are you looking at water? Pull stuff.
That's true.
Steven, I don't know
That's
this
fair as
person.
fuck.
Just so you know, I don't know this guy. He might not be my nephew at all. Anyway, anybody else want to say something before we end the show, the podcast?
Shut up, Odra.
Tonight.
Can I get a
Yeah.
oh yeah?
Yeah, I'll give you another positive. If we're going to be talking a lot about ashes, look at the bright side. You'll have at least until 2026 May of alpha conversation.
Oh, Jesus. All right. This concludes this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.
You're welcome. Oh.